Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch presented by Fantasy Phenom. I'm Kyle, going solo again tonight. Tonight was a fantastic night for some Phenoms. So, new thing I started, you know what, and honestly, I can't explain why I wasn't doing this all along. Those of you that aren't always able to watch either the lock show, the night show, whatever it is, um, I never really thought about doing write-ups before. And it's funny because we have other guys in there, Clint, Dan, all these guys that are doing write-ups. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but, we started doing them. And what I do is every night after the show or before it, in tonight's case, I give my pitching outlook. So those of you that, would rather read and or can't watch the show can go look at it. And then during the day when lineups start to come out, I give my stacks and who I'm looking at. And like I said, man, today was fantastic. We had some big winners. Rob, again, won another $400. Shout out to him. Finished top 10 in a GPP. We had Michael Gray, who finished second in a GPP, brought home $500. And Nick, he brought home $150 off of a $12 buy-in on some DraftKings. So shout out to those guys. Posted some really nice scores. We talked about the Astro stack, so I didn't even have a lock show today. Typed in there, I was looking at an Astro stack. Of course, they go off best stack of the day. Some of the reasons we were looking at Cesar Valdez, so let me pull up what we were looking at here. Of course, some of the stacks didn't go off. I took a risk on some White Sox. That didn't work. Arenado hit a home run, so that worked. Rockies didn't do as much as I expected. Texas obviously shit the bed. But if you played those Astros, man, you were looking good. So, first and foremost, shout out to the man Clint Grit right here. He put me on Brandon Woodruff, who went out and had 24 DraftKings points. Fantastic outing for him, his first start. And we talked about him in the pitching right here. Pay down options, Brandon Woodruff. I said I'm going to trust Clint here. Similar price to Wood. Misleading AAA numbers because of an injury. He holds a 50% ground ball rate and a 93 to 95 mile an hour sinking fastball. He got strikeouts, got himself out of some jams today. He worked well. Kyle Freeland obviously got hurt. Looking at the top plays, I had James Paxton and Yu Darvish. Both those guys went out and balled. We talked about fading Jacob deGrom, and that ended up being a good play. James Paxton, 25 DraftKings points. Yu Darvish had a really good game. I believe he had 8 or 9 Ks. And, the reason I was all over you was, if you look, even with his last start, yo, what's up, Nick? Congrats on that win, buddy. Even with his last start with Texas, his xFIP in his last 14 days was still under 3. It was at like 2.84. That's fantastic, right? So that shows you that he was pitching a lot better than his numbers. Obviously, narrative, Mets have been striking out a ton over the last 7 days. A lot of things led up there. Talked about Gausman. Gausman was that risky play, facing a Tigers offense that had some hot bats. But he went out and got 28 DraftKings points. I believe he had 9 strikeouts. And he was only 8-1 on DraftKings. Been electric, man. Right here. One poor start, but otherwise has been great his last 7 games. Holds a K percentage of 30% in the last 30 days with a swinging strike rate of 14%. What is up, Rob? Also, congrats on your win again, buddy. Detroit, much worse on the road. So, that's what we were looking at. And then the stacks. Talked about the Angels and Astros, Rockies, Rangers. As I mentioned, Rangers busted out. Angels, they did well tonight, 8 runs. Astros, again, Valdez, career reliever, who had a nice first showing versus the A's. His K rate steadily declined from the last 30 to last 7, and it's not surprising. And we said he can be attacked, and sure enough, quick and simple there. So, congrats to all those guys that cashed nicely. If you guys are still debating whether you want to join the Phenom, this is the time, man. Gearing up for football, obviously baseball. Join the best community. Yo, there you go. You and Woodruff combo, man. There you go. And Rob says Angels been good the last few. I've been on them. They've been, so right now, top 3 team in the last 7 days. So Well played there. Yo, what is up, Marcus? The crew is here. But yeah, man, so great day again overall. Congrats to all those guys that won some nice money. Let's get a repeat tomorrow. I'm feeling good about tomorrow's slate already and ready to get into it. If you guys are in River, I already posted the write-up for the pitchers tomorrow. There will not be a lock show again, but I will post those stacks, so you'll get the same thing, of course, a nice write-up of where I'm at. Take it or leave it. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm always right. Obviously, yo, Mike is in the building, the other winner of the night. There we go, man. We got the full squad here now. So yeah, I'll do another write-up tomorrow, guys, and you know, we'll hope to keep cashing. Today was fun. I crawled in an attic for the first time, and I am itchy as shit. My elbows are all torn up. Insulation is a fucking bitch, man. Rob says some of these value guys gotta be looked with pitching. They've been balling out. Yo, I'm telling you, look at the last week. Those, you know, when we post those top pitchers, always value guys on there. It's why I stress, man. I rarely ever pay up for pitching. James Paxton and Yu Darvish were two guys that I was willing to go to today. James Paxton, 7 straight wins, 30% K rate in his last 30 days. Dude's been balling. But it's not usual that I pay up for pitching, and if we're already looking ahead at tomorrow, I'm not paying for the top price guys, and you guys saw it in my write-up. So you guys know where I'm going tomorrow. Washington and Chicago. We got a 3-game early. I'm sorry, which is odd. Is it a 3-game early? I know the first 2 games are on there. Is it? Is the 3rd game on DraftKings? It is on DraftKings. Is it on FanDuel? Early only. It is not. Only a 2-game early on FanDuel, 3-game early on DraftKings. So keep that in mind. If you guys played Roark and Wojciechowski today, that was the pairing. So, nailed that one as well. Shout out to the Phenoms. But yeah, man, we got Edwin Jackson, who has pitched respectable. He holds a high fly ball rate. I don't like that. Not a good xFIP. Don't like that either. I think he can be attacked with some Cubs tomorrow. And then John Lackey, we like attacking him. So he has pitched better of late. I think this is the game stack right here. I like both Nats and Cubs here. Won't have any of Edwin Jackson and John Lackey. If you're playing that 2-game early on FanDuel, I think Rich Hill is the clear-cut guy to roll with. Been unreal, not only on the season, but his last 14, under 200 average against him. He's not giving up home runs. That's awesome. Mets, not good at all at home versus lefties. 118 ISO, 265 WOBA. There's not a lot to like about the Mets at home versus lefties. I dig this spot for some Rich Hill. There we go. Get that up there. Zoom in a little bit for you guys. And then Seth Lugo, I actually don't hate the play. I prefer to stack the Chicago-Washington game than I do the Dodgers tomorrow. So, personal choice there. But yeah, and Mets have been striking out, man. We talked about Darvish today, right? Mets, over their last 7 days, have struck out 25% of the time. Rich Hill, strikeout upside. I like the play. And then if you're on DraftKings, finally, we got Milwaukee and Tampa. Zach Davies, Alex Cobb. So, wrote about Alex Cobb. The thing with Alex Cobb is you're really, really, really banking on him to go deep into the games, which he's been able to do. The problem is there's almost no K upside here. Now, he does have the best K matchup if you're on the DraftKings slate of the pitchers, I would say, with Milwaukee. But he very well can get blown up, and I don't know if he's going to go deep into this game. And then Zach Davies has been pitching fantastic. He also has a K matchup with Tampa Bay, but I don't know that Zach Davies is my favorite guy to go to. So I would fade this game if I'm on DraftKings. I still like the Washington-Chicago stacks in that early. Looking ahead to the main, we have Detroit and Baltimore. Talked about last night, this was going to be a pitcher's duel, and pitcher's duel it was. Kevin Gausman and Justin Verlander, sure enough, held their own. And, like we said, Justin Verlander been pitching well, second half pitcher historically. And no surprise that he went out and had a good game. And then Baltimore, Kevin Gausman, nothing new there. Now, I kind of like Detroit in this spot tomorrow. Wade Miley's not been good. 44% hard contact with a 5.3 xFIP his last 14 days. And Detroit hits lefties much better than righties. In fact, their best home run split is actually away versus lefties. They hold a almost 18% home run per fly ball rate. I love Justin Upton, Ian Kinsler, Nick Castellanos. Those righty bats kill lefties, so I have zero issue with the Detroit stack tomorrow. And then Drew Verhagen, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I think he can be attacked too. I don't know a ton about the guy. I know he's had, I believe, a couple of relief appearances this year for Detroit. But Baltimore has been swinging the bats well besides tonight. So I do think you can play some Baltimore bats here. San Diego and Pittsburgh. Garrett Cole is the most expensive pitcher on DraftKings tomorrow on this main slate. Will not be playing any Garrett Cole tomorrow. Do I think he's in a good matchup? Probably. San Diego, they strike out, right? Nothing new there. Let me get the numbers on their last 7 as well. Padres, 25% strikeout rate last 7, 22 last 14, 24 last month. Over the last 7 days particularly, they only hold a 262 ISO and a 158 WOBA, and they're not hitting the fastball at all. So I can see Garrett Cole having a good game. Is he worth the most expensive price? I mean, maybe on this slate, but I'm not going to play him. In fact, my guy, you guys know I love this guy, Mr. Dinelson Lamet. Arguably my favorite pitcher in all of baseball right now to watch. This guy's slider is fucking nasty. When it is on, it is on. And it just can't be hit. So if it's on tomorrow, expect a nice game from him. I love his spot. Pittsburgh, for one, there is limited upside here. Pittsburgh does not strike out a ton. And so we do have that. But I always give advantage to pitcher. If his slider is working, they're not going to hit it. I can see an upside here of 8 to 9 Ks tomorrow. And he's only 8K on FanDuel, 8K on DraftKings, and he is 8K on, so I had it right, 8K on FanDuel, 8.4 on DraftKings. Thought I had it right. And one thing I'm liking about him is the fly ball rate is down in the last 14 days. His xFIP has steadily decreased. It's gone from 4.11 in the last 30 to 3.31 in the last 14 days. His swing and strike rate has increased from 12.7% to 14%, and his strikeout rate has gone from 26.6 to 25.5. Not really a drop-off. So I do like Dinelson Lamet in the spot, pitching great as of late, and he gets a Pirates team that is not swinging the bat well. Minus today's output, they are actually bottom 3 in the league in WOBA last 7 days. We got James Shields and Drew Pomeranz. Drew is one of those pay-up options tomorrow. Charlie Morton versus the Blue Jays. That game's coming up. So, Drew Pomeranz is a pay-up option tomorrow. He's 9K on DraftKings and 8.6 on FanDuel. I think he's got to be looked at for matchup alone. But what worries me about Drew Pomeranz is kind of the numbers we're seeing of late. So, over the last month, he holds an xFIP of 4.67 with an ERA of 2.97. He's definitely getting a little lucky there, right? And over his last 14 days, it's still sitting at 4.02. So a little bit of a drop, but it's still high. And his swing and strike rate is not really where I want it to be, and his Ks are down. Over the last 7 days, he only has a strikeout rate of 14%. That's obviously 2 starts, but it's enough for me to have a little bit of caution. Now, the White Sox are really bad since they traded their entire team, so that's the reason he does deserve a look. But I don't find myself getting all the way up to him tomorrow. Again, I think I like Lamet's spot a little more. And then, you know what, man? I'm going to go right back to a Boston stack. They're probably going to be chalky, as is the case versus James Shields. But I have zero issue going back here. Red Sox, over the last 7 days, are absolutely killing it. They have the highest WOBA of any team at 3.89 with an ISO of 2.01. That is great. And they are seeing the fastball better than any team in baseball that's not the Rangers right now in the last 7 days. So, love the Red Sox stack tomorrow. Your usual guys. I like Moreland. I like Devers, Betts, Benintendi. So, it can go on there. Dan Straley, Mike Foltynewicz. I really don't like Folty at home, and Miami is hot right now. Giancarlo Stanton hit another 2 home runs tonight, your new MLB home run leader. So I like this spot for some Marlins. Now, Folty has been pitching better, and he shuts down right-handed bats, so that is a little bit of pause for concern. But I still think Stanton's red hot. Ozuna's been swinging the bat well. Yelich has been hot. D. Gordon. So I can get to a Marlins stack tomorrow, and I don't think they will be super high owned. They could be a sneaky stack. Dan Straley, not a guy I'm going to pitch. He has severely regressed. Over his last 14 days, you're looking at an xFIP of almost 7 with a home run per 9 of 2.7 and a fly ball rate of almost 60% in this park. I don't see that boding well. Atlanta might get back on track tomorrow. So Atlanta could also be a sneaky stack. I could see game stack working in your favor here. New York and Cleveland. Danny Salazar is another pay-up option I'm looking at tomorrow. Dude has been nothing short of fantastic since he came back out of the bullpen and off that DL. FanDuel early slate, Lackey. No. No Lackey for me. I'm stacking that game. Nats and Cubs game stack, I feel like. New York and Cleveland. Jordan Montgomery, not going to pitch him against Cleveland. They've been swinging the bat well. And Danny Salazar. So New York is not playing great over the last week, but their ability to break out at any point is what the only cause for concern I have here. Salazar is striking out a ton of guys, 36%. His swinging strike rate is 20% right now, so that even shows that his K rate could be even a little higher. He's limiting hard contact. His xFIP is 2.6 since coming in his last couple starts, so a lot of numbers point to Salazar being a good play tomorrow. An average against under 200 in his last 2 starts. Everything points to Salazar being a good play tomorrow. I typically give the edge to pitching, so if I'm paying up, I'm getting to Salazar over Pomeranz, even with Pomeranz's matchup. But again, the Yankees are worrisome because they can break out at any time. St. Louis and Cincy, Lance Lynn and Luis Castillo. Castillo is that other guy that I really like tomorrow. He's only 8K on DraftKings, and I believe he's 7.6 on FanDuel. Let me make sure I have that right. He is 7.7 on FanDuel. My apologies. So, couple nice things about him, right? Obviously, the low home run per 9. That he has severely cut down his home runs his last couple starts. Average against under 206. And what's great about Castillo is he has not had an easy matchup at all since he's come into the big leagues, right? Faced the Nationals twice. He's faced the Diamondbacks twice. Trying to think of the other teams he's faced. But, again, not an easy schedule, and he's still putting up these numbers. Now, take a look at the St. Louis Cardinals in their last 7 days. They're a bottom 5 team. They're striking out 30% of the time over the last 7 days. And they're still striking out 27% of the time over the last 14. There is not a lot of good things going on in St. Louis right now. Them on the road is also not as good at home. They strike out more. They hit for lower WOBA, less home runs. I like Luis Castillo a lot tomorrow. I think he's my number 1 pitcher for value. That number isn't real. Really like Luis Castillo's spot tomorrow. The only cause for concern I have with him is his swing and strike rate is down from where I would really like it. It's only at 10.4% over his last 7 days, and over his last 30, it's at 10.2. I'd like that number to get up a little closer to 12, miss a couple more bats, but the K rate is still there. He has a live fastball, and like I said, St. Louis has been struggling and striking out. I like the upside here for Mr. Castillo tomorrow. And if you pair him with the Nelson Lamet on DraftKings, or play either one of those guys on FanDuel, you allow yourself to get some nice bats. So we'll have some Luis Castillo. Texas and Minnesota. Kyle Gibson coming back up. I don't know that I pitch him. But Texas it's really ridiculous how bad they are on the road. Um, Bartolo Colon, complete game tonight. I don't know what to say there. Um, Whatever. Fuck Bartolo Colon. But yeah, maybe Texas rebounds tomorrow. Maybe we're a day early on that stack. I'm gonna guarantee you that. Kush, anyone like a Baltimore stack? I think that's a game stack, sir. I think that is a game stack situation there. Texas, Minnesota. Maybe we're a day early on Texas. Maybe. But again, their away numbers are pretty dreadful. So you can take a chance and go back here. If you're playing multiple lineups, I think you should. Because they really let everyone down today. Their ownership is going to drop dramatically tomorrow. And Kyle Gibson on the season has not been good. So definitely a spot I think we can get to if you're playing multiple lineups. If you're playing one, I don't know that Texas is my top stack. Minnesota versus Cole Hamels. I just don't see enough upside in Cole Hamels anymore, man. He's done okay. He limits fly balls. Still does a good job of that. His Ks are down. Minnesota's better at home than they are on the road. I just don't see enough upside in Cole Hamels to pitch in tomorrow. Probably going to be a fade for me. Toronto and Houston. Wow. I mean, Marco Estrada just been so bad this year. Houston's one of the best fastball hitting teams in the league. All he does is throw a fastball, changeup, 2-pitch guy. Has a 60% fly ball rate his last couple starts. He pitched really, really well versus the White Sox, but the White Sox are not the Astros. And the Astros have been off or on. So hopefully we catch him on another on day tomorrow. Probably don't put up another 15 runs. But remember that Toronto bullpen is not good. Estrada, fly ball pitcher, typically doesn't play well in this park. And then Charlie Morton, a guy that's been playing really well his last couple games since coming back from the DL. Toronto's been hot though. So again, probably don't get to Morton. Again, I still like Castillo and Lamet a little more than Morton. But I can't fault you at all for that play, especially with his recent stats. Hard contact of only 16% in his last 14 days. Definitely can neutralize that Toronto hot streak. Seattle and Kansas City. Danny Duffy tomorrow. I like this play potentially. Danny Duffy's been pitching well-ish of late. Done a great job all year of limiting home runs. The one problem I have is the fly balls, especially over the last 2 weeks. 53% fly ball rate. But he does neutralize a lot of the lefty power. We're looking at Kyle Seager, Ben Gamel, Robinson Cano. Nelson Cruz poses a little bit of a threat if he plays tomorrow. He was scratched today. But I like Danny Duffy's spot. The Ks are what worry me a little bit. Seattle's not a huge strikeout team. Danny Duffy's Ks are down. So I don't know how much upside is here. Again, not my favorite play, but I can see a good outing from him. Whether it's a good DFS outing, that's to be determined. And then Felix Hernandez was pitching well up until his last 2 starts. Kind of hit a little bump in the road. I don't think I get to him versus Kansas City. They hit righties better than lefties. Obviously, a lot of the power in this lineup is lefties. Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, Melky Cabrera. And then their righties, a lot of their righties hit righties better than they do lefties. So Duffy needs more Ks. Yeah, dude. That's the problem with Duffy is the Ks this year. I don't know if he gets those strikeouts. So again, I think this probably ends up being a pitcher fade for me, and in fact, probably a whole game fade. I really don't want to stack against Felix, and I don't want to stack against Duffy. So probably going to fade this entire game here. Philadelphia at Colorado. I think John Gray is an interesting play tomorrow. Nice strikeouts, xFIP of 2.5 his last 14, and he does a great job of limiting fly balls. We know that is big time in this park. Big time. Philadelphia has hit a cold streak. They were hot, not anymore, right? They have severely dropped. They were like a top 5 team a couple days ago, and now in the last week, like look at a rolling week average, they're down to number 18, I believe. So not a spot I'm going to go. Headed in the wrong direction. I do like John Gray for some price savings as well. I think there's K upside here versus a free swinging Phillies team. Away versus righties is their not only worst power matchup, although it is Coors, take that into consideration, but they strike out the most and have the lowest average. I'm sorry, not the lowest average against. That is away versus lefties. But nonetheless, low average against. They hit a lot of ground balls. I think this could be a good spot for John Gray. You'll get him at low ownership. We know people don't like playing pitchers and cores, so I like the spot here. I think he's in play. And then Nick Pivetta, we know his road struggles. Colorado at home is a different animal. Will not have any shares of Nick Pivetta tomorrow. If he beats me, he beats me. Arizona and San Francisco, and then Oakland, LA, of course, the final two spots here. Kind of like Taijuan Walker tomorrow. 34% K rate, 3.3 xFIP his last 14 starts. And even with his fly ball issue, he does get this park. Now, the Giants have been okay of late, but they're still bad. So I'm definitely looking at some Taijuan Walker. I think on the late slate, he's probably one of my favorite plays. I like Skaggs, too. We'll get to him. He's coming off the DL. That's a little concerning. But Taijuan Walker, like his spot, like the K upside. Now, it is limited with the Giants not striking out a whole lot. So temper expectations there. But I think he goes out and has a good game. AT&T Park is a great park to pitch in. And then Chris Stratton is going to get a chance to prove himself. Giants know they're out of it. Matt Cain was scratched for this start. He was initially slated to pitch here. But Bochy's going to, they know what they have in Cain. He's really not, he's a shell of his former self at this point. Stratton's not been good this year. He holds an ERA over 7. But xFIP is lower than that, so maybe a little bit of positive regression coming. The one thing he does do is limit fly balls, and that's huge in this park. We do know the Diamondbacks are a different team on the road, but they are hot right now. So you're playing with fire, Clayton Stratton, but I could see the argument being made here. Again, Diamondbacks worse on the road, limits fly balls in a great park to limit fly balls in. And even when the fly balls are hit, they're not very going there. No idea what we're talking about here. Road Warriors. Philippines basketball. All right. Live chat is popping. Oakland and LA. Finally, Paul Blackburn and Tyler Skaggs. Tyler Skaggs was having a good year before he got hurt. And of course, first game back from injury, you guys know I typically don't like doing that. I wouldn't pitch him on the main. If you're looking at the late slate, I could see it. Again, Oakland's split versus lefties are bad. Still under a 200 average against on the year. Their least amount of home runs. LA is a relatively pitcher-friendly park. And Oakland strikes out 25% of the time away versus lefties. Skaggs on the year, 24% K rate. So, definitely like some Tyler Skaggs as a GPP option on this late slate only. Paul Blackburn, no K upside. He's been pitching okay, but LA has been mad hot. Again, another 8 runs last night. So I could see LA being the stack on this late slate again. I think if you're playing it, it's only these 2 games. That's probably where I go again. Go right back to an LA stack. Go 5 deep on DK and 4 deep. 4 deep on FanDuel. Do they have spreadsheets for Philippine pro basketball? Oh, man. I love this chat. I love it. So that is where we are at, guys. Of course, if you guys would like to join the Phenom, get access to, of course, all these write-ups, let you guys know where I'm going. And, of course, guys, feel free, please, if you have plays that you're looking at and you want to do a write-up, hit this post button. You guys see the chat here. This is the live chat. Hit post. Hit this little plus button, and there you go. Write a post. Dan does his in Arcade. Obviously, take a look at these. Right? And he includes these fun little pictures. I love Dan, man. There you go. I mean, the dude stays fucking amazing at Arcade. He's the guy to go to. You see all these write-ups. This is the dude right here. So, if you guys have content to add, hit that post button, write some posts, or if you just want to add to the posts that I make, feel free to comment. You guys can do a long write-up, however long you want to do it. Put your own plays there, your stats you're looking at. It's all a giant community. That's what makes this play, or what makes this place great. So, appreciate it, guys. Congrats on those big winners again tonight, Nick, Rob, and Michael. You guys are awesome. Keep those winnings coming tomorrow. Look forward to seeing those screenshots of the winnings again. And of course, follow us on Twitter, Fantasy Phenom, and I'll have that stack write up for you guys probably around noon my time tomorrow. So have a wonderful night, guys. Make it a profitable Saturday, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.